Hello and welcome to the podcast. If this is your first time listening, my name is Tavishima Ayede. I'm the host of the show. I'm a former lawyer turned business consultant, and what I do here every day is I solve business problems. And the problem we're going to look at today is this is a part two. It's a spillover from discussing Josh and his company, AGM Maritime Logistics, which is a Lagos based company. They assist importers with clearing goods. Let's see what else. Nationwide delivery. Yeah, they're a 5 month old company. And anyway, yesterday was the intro, and we discussed a bunch of business problems that they were having, but we didn't go into anything in particular in depth. Although, if I remember correctly, we spoke about their their digital advertising strategy and how, if we want to figure out what went wrong, well, first of all, we need more time because they only advertised for 2 weeks, as at the time when Josh reached out to me. Then we'd also have to look at their targeting to be sure that their targeting was on point, the copy, the text used, the words used were on point, and also to be sure that they used a CTA, that's a call to action, excuse me, and also to be sure that they were using an effective call to action. And then, sorry, excuse me, then we also looked at how, if we're trying to figure out what went wrong with their flyer outreach campaign, we'd have to look at similar stuff. So, um, yeah, in summary, I think that's what we spoke about yesterday. Okay, yes, I also mentioned about how business owners in Nigeria can use AI tools, artificial intelligence tools, for ideation. That's to come up with ideas for how to grow their business. And I think the particular example that we looked at yesterday was how you can use AI tools to come out with prospecting campaigns, prospecting lists, and those sorts of things. So, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, then after you're done listening to this, skip back. There's quite a bit of stuff that you missed. All right, sorry about that. Then let's see. Okay, so today we're going to start looking at concrete questions that Mr. Josh had, and the whole point of doing this is, well, not just to provide value to Josh, but then also hopefully they're going to be people who are in Josh's situation, and you're going to be able to get some value from the conversations. Now, before we continue, if you'd love to connect with me, just like Josh did, then you can call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080 If you don't have time to listen to long episodes that we put up here every day, then send me a message on WhatsApp and I will add you to the WhatsApp group. Now, in the WhatsApp group, you're going to get PDF summaries every day, 3 to 5 minutes, easy read. So that way you can stay up to date with what's going on the podcast. And then when you have time, you come back here and listen to the longer episodes. So, one of the questions that Mr. Josh had was how to overcome entrenched competition. Let me repeat. One specific question that Mr. Josh had was, what do you do when you're trying to sell into a business and it's as if they have an inside man from another company? They already have somebody that's entrenched who is giving a similar service. They already have their own provider. They already have their own plug. So it's not as if you're trying to enter this deal fresh. As you're trying to enter the deal, as you're trying to talk to this person, as you're trying to build a relationship, or more, it'd be like, say, like they have their own guy. So what do you do? Now, in Mr. Josh's situation, I know he doesn't describe himself as a freight forwarder, but let me just use that term, freight forwarder, just to make things easy for me. So let's just manage. So, in Mr. Josh's situation, it will be that situation where Josh goes to go and meet somebody, a trader, in Alaba International Market. And then the moment they start talking, the guy will be like, I already have a freight forwarder. So that's the kind of scenario. You say, "Good morning, sir, blah, blah, blah. My name is Josh, this company, one thing, one thing." You say, I already have a freight forwarder. So that's the kind of situation that Mr. Josh is talking about. In fact, he mentioned scenarios where he was talking to people and who have freight forwarders that they've been working with 5 years, 10 years. What do you do in that kind of situation? You want to sell your own market. You come in, the person you're talking to has been doing business with your competition for 5 to 10 years. Competition is already on ground. Now, some of you might wonder, why are we discussing these kind of scenarios today? Well, simple. Because, like I mentioned in the previous episode, there are lots of people who are in the same situation. There was one guy who sent me a message today from Uyo, who is into cleaning services. So I can't remember the guy's name. Let me even, sorry, hold on. Let me just check the messages now, sir. Let me give the guy a proper shout out. Sorry, I'm making this recording on my phone. So I'm just going into WhatsApp now. Let me just check this thing. I beg, just chill. Samuel. Okay, so his name is Samuel Nice, and he's the founder of Sammy Nice Janitorial Services, a cleaning agency based in Uyo, in Akwa Ibom State. So Sammy Nice, that's a really interesting name. I haven't come across any Nigerian before whose surname is Nice. So I think Mr. Sammy, you have one of the awards for the most interesting surname that I've come across so far since I started the podcast. So, excuse me. So you'll be asking now that why are we discussing this kind of thing? Okay, there are some of you who will never face this kind of situation. But the thing is, for people like Josh, who is a freight forwarder, this is the kind of thing he's going to hear every single day, every single week. No, thank you. I already have a freight forwarder. Been working with him for a while. For people like, excuse me, like Mr. Nice, Sammy Nice, in Akwa Ibom, in Uyo, he's going to hear that all the time. He's going to walk into an office. Sorry, excuse me. Is this my perennial throat issues? At the radio station where I have my show, the one of the guys there said I should be drinking okra. That if I lick okra, as he put it, that will help with the voice. Everything will be smooth and no more throat issues. Anyway, so where was I? And so for Sammy Nice now, if Sammy wants to break into, let's say, banks in that area and he goes to Zenith Bank, I can assure you, Zenith Bank already has a cleaning service that they've been using for the past couple of years. If Sammy Nice decides to go to a church to say, Pastor, let me clean your church, I can assure you the church already has some kind of arrangements where people come in and clean the church. If Sammy Nice wants to go to a school, I can assure you that no matter the business that Sammy Nice decides to go to, there is already somebody on ground that that particular business is using for cleaning services. So, people who are freight forwarders, this is the problem they have. People who are in cleaning, commercial cleaning, they have this problem. People who are in stationery and office supplies, they have this problem. You want to supply paper to any business, go there, except if the business just started on day one. I can assure you they're already buying paper from someplace, pencils from someplace, tissue paper from someplace, printer ink from someplace. There's already somebody who's entrenched. Now, people in the pharmaceutical and medical sales space, it's like that. If you go to H Medics or any of these big, national pharmacy chains, and you want to sell medicine to them, it doesn't matter. If you want to sell them paracetamol, they're already buying paracetamol from someplace else. If you want to sell them HIV medicine, they're already buying HIV medicine from someplace else. If you want to sell them, medicine for, erectile dysfunction or whatever, they're already buying it from someplace else. So the problem is, you want to sell, but they have an inside man, they have a plug, they have an entrenched service, they have a different provider. So that's the problem. The moment you open your mouth, the person will say, I already have an XYZ. So, how do we deal with this kind of situation? Now, for those of you who've been listening to the podcast for a very long time, you already kind of have a sense of what it is that I'm going to say. So for the newbies, let's just break it down. Anytime somebody gives you an excuse or a reason or whatever for not wanting to continue with the conversation, or for not wanting to look at your agenda, or for not wanting to, close the sale or whatever, we consider those things an objection. So when you go somewhere and say, "Hey, what's up now? My name is Josh from AGM Maritime," and the person says, "I already have a freight forwarder." That person saying, "I already have a freight forwarder," that is an objection. Now, the problem is this: when lots of you hear an objection, you try to overcome it. You are making your matter worse. If you go and you meet Chief Ihenacho, and the moment you start talking, Chief Ihenacho says, "I already have a freight forwarder," and then you say, "And we are the best, we're the cheapest," you are making your matter worse. Chief Ihenacho has given you an objection. Maybe he has legitimate reasons why he doesn't want to talk now. Maybe he's trying to brush you off. So you trying to go around this whole thing, you're just making your matter worse. Anything that you say, you are grating on his nerves and you're becoming an irritant. So the first thing we do when we show up and people have their walls up and they have their guard up and they're giving us excuses is you acknowledge and empathize with them. Let them feel as if what they're saying makes sense, as if what they're saying is reasonable. Make it look as if you understand. When you give them that vibe, "Oh, what you're saying is reasonable, I understand perfectly well," people's guard will calm down. When their guard is down, you will now ask questions. The whole point of asking questions is you're trying to figure out two things. Number one, is the person just brushing you off? If the person is brushing you off, then be going. A brush off is a brush off. I mean, how for do? Right? If it's a brush off, then just be gone. But if it looks like they have genuine concerns, you can now start addressing those genuine concerns. But that is only after you have acknowledged and empathized, and then the whole emotional temperature has calmed down. Then, after that, the scope you're trying to use is basically you're trying to be an alternative or you're trying to be a second opinion just in case that main guy disappoints or in case he delays or in case he frustrates. So that's the scope. We are not going to assume that we can enter into these runs today because somebody is firmly entrenched. The person has been there 5 or 10 years before you. Let's be realistic. It's not going to be as if you will collect this business today. The best you can do is you want to be an alternative. You want to be a second opinion on speed dial so that the day that guy F up, they will call your number next. Now, this is not a sure banker. I'm not telling you something that you will say and then, this deal will automatically become yours. But remember what Brian Tracy says, it's about putting the odds in our favor. If we take this approach, over time, one day we will get a shot. And getting a shot with somebody might be the inside, how will I put it now? Now, just like getting your foot in the door, like you just put one leg inside. That might be the break that you need. So now, let's make this practical. Josh goes to Chief Iheanacho and says, "Good morning, sir. Chief Iheanacho, my name is Josh. I'm with AGM Maritime Services, blah, 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 blah." And then Chief Iheanacho says, "I already have a freight forwarder." Now, right, excuse me, hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Just wanted to clear my throat properly. Okay, so Chief Iheanacho says, "I already have a freight forwarder." So, Josh, what you do is you acknowledge, you empathize. You say, "Yes, sir. I understand. As I've seen your business, you're looking good, you're doing big like this. I can already tell that you have a freight forwarder, and I can see that business is going on well. As I understand perfectly, because I mean, myself, if I have my own plug for something, it's not as if I like listening to other people. When you put it like that, you're trying to give it that atmosphere of, Oga, what you're saying makes sense. it makes perfect sense. No be by force. That kind of attitude. That's the kind of attitude we're going for. Like what you're saying makes perfect sense. No be by force. I'm not trying to throw myself all over you. Now, when when people become calm under this approach, this give you room. It gives you room to ask a couple of questions. Now, the question that I would propose in this situation would be something like this. You can ask any number of questions, but this is the kind of question I'll propose, Josh, that you should do. So the person says, you have a freight forwarder. Oh, I understand, blah, blah, blah. Well, I can see that business is moving well. I'm sure you have a very competent freight forwarder. Chief will say yes. They now say, but Chief, you know that in business, just like in life, it helps if you have one or two options. So, Chief, I hope you don't mind. At least, can I be a second option? If you put it that way, most people will say, oh, of course, now, it's not a problem now. Second option, that one is okay now. It's not bad. That is the point where you get an opportunity to leave your business card or to leave your flyer or to leave your whatever. But then eh, you will try and secure an advancement. An advancement is when you and the person that you're talking to both jointly, collectively agree on what the next step is. Right? And the next step in this case is going to be that, Chief, I hope you don't mind. You know, since you say it's okay that I can be a second opinion, I can see that you're busy now. Sure, I can call you maybe like around that kind next week, Thursday, like 2 p.m. At least that time you should be free now, Abby. She will say, like around 2, no problem. We would have finished market meeting, association meeting then, you know. So, okay, no problem. So, let me just call you then so I can learn some more about your business just in case. If that other guy misbehave, just in case, so that if you call me, at least you'll be able to move quick. So, how far? And then, Chief, most likely, will say yes. So, you've dropped your contact details. You've gotten permission to call next week. Now, next week, what you're going to do is proper qualification and discovery. You're going to learn about his business, what he exports, what his business needs are, things like that, um, their timelines. And then you stylishly start asking questions about problems that he's facing with the current supplier. You do it, stylishly. You understand? You slide into it small. The way you will get into that when you call him next week is you start talking about uh, problems that occur, when they're late. You start from a from a general perspective that okay, that chief for this import for this whatever, it sounds like it's a very time sensitive something. And of course you say that's very time sensitive. Or, I'm sure that when there is delay, that thing is will cost you money. And of course you will admit that will cost him money. You say, has that thing happened recently? You see, you're not attacking the company immediately, but has that thing happened recently? And of course, if anything happened like 3 months ago, 6 months ago, you're trying to get more detail, how the delay happened, how much money they lost, blah, 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 and stuff like that. That is where, because for Josh, your own unique value proposition is you're going to be always on time and no extra charges. So it's all this information that will give room for you to start trying to trick yourself later on to talk about, no delays. But that would only be possible because in the qualification and discovery part of the conversations, you've been asking him about what his needs are, and you figured out some problems about problems that he has with the current supplier. But the thing you need to understand is this is not going to be a 1 day kind of job to get into the account. It's not a 1 day kind of thing. It's something that you handle delicately, and it's something that will happen with time. But this is the general approach. If somebody says, so, Mr. Sam Nice, our brother in Akwa Ibom, somebody says, oh, I already have cleaning service. You say, oh, Yeah, I understand. Makes perfect sense. In fact, the way I'm seeing your environment, I can see that cleanliness is very, very important to you. I can see they already have a service. Something like that, just to keep their mind cool, keep their mind down. So now there's no pressure, no pressure at all. And then you ask a question. If you use AI tools, you can brainstorm and come up with some good questions. But for now, the only thing I can think of is you just ask, just a general question like, but sir, sure you know that just like in life, also in business, it's not bad if somebody will have a second opinion now. I mean, it's not bad. The person will smile and admit that, yeah, it's not bad to keep options. You say, okay, so sir, that is all I'm asking. I can see you already have a cleaning service. I'm just asking that can I be considered as an alternative? Let me just be a second opinion, just in case of disappointment. At least you have my number to call me. You just give me a trial. In case this current cleaning company that you're using, in case they disappoint, in case they mess up, in case they F up, in case of delay, in case of this, that's the scope that you use. Now, at that point, if you say, oh, I take my phone number, that might be a bit too forceful. So if you just say, let me leave business card, let me leave flyer, and then remember, advancement. So, sir, can I call you next week, Monday, 8 a.m.? I would like to learn some more about your business. Just in case if your regular guy misbehave and you call me, at least I already know what's up, so I know how to serve you better. So, sir, should that be okay? Most people will say yes. Then at that call, you will do qualification and discovery. You try and figure out what it is that they need. Stylishly, you will try and figure out problems that they have with their current provider. So let us say, Sam, nice. Let's say the place that you go to is a church, maybe Anglican church in the neighborhood, and so you ask them about their cleaning schedule and stuff like that. Maybe from there, stylishly, you can start asking questions about their wooden pews. These pews, I can see these wooden pews. How old? How long you've had them? Blah blah blah. Maybe you now ask, oh, the current cleaner. Does the current cleaner use so and so wood treatment every single time they are cleaning these pews? You see, so from asking questions like that, you're beginning to get some background info, some background intel about the quality of service that they are receiving. So it's from all those small, corner questions, you'll be able to get enough information, enough intelligence, so that when the time comes round for you to make your sales pitch, you'll be able to say that, sir, sorry, pastor, pastor, based on what I'm seeing, all these expensive pews and this expensive chair, blah 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 blah. I would recommend wood treatment, something, blah blah blah, which is what we do standard for all our clients who are in the religious space. Okay, sorry about that. I had to clear my sinuses again. But anyway, I think you guys already get the scope of what it is that I've been trying to say. So, for Josh and other freight forwarders who are listening, this is the scope. For those of you who sell stationery, you provide tissue paper to businesses, biro, paper, staplers, printer ink. This is the scope. For those of you who are in commercial cleaning, like Sam Nice in New York, Akwa Ibom, this is the scope. If you sell pharmaceutical uh, products to large chain pharmacies, this is the scope. If you want to provide uh, like certain kinds of provisions, fast moving consumer goods to market chains, this is the scope. Because if you are an Indomie distributor, it does not matter which supermarket you go to, they already have somebody that is supplying them Indomie. This is how you enter the scope. You open your mouth, you start talking, they say, and we already have people that are supplying us Indomie. You say, I understand now. As I'm seeing your shelf, I'm seeing the Indomie, I know that you already have somebody, and I'm sure the person is even doing a good job because I can see that this Indomie is clean. It's a correct Indomie. Person will calm down. It's not by force, by force. And they say, but sir, sure you know, we life now, as in business, to have second option, sir, it's not a bad thing. Most people will laugh and say, yeah, it's not bad. Say, so sir, that's all I'm asking. I just want to be a second opinion. Let me just be an alternative. Let me just be on standby. In case that your guy disappoint, in case that your guy delay. That's what I'm asking, sir. Sure, that's okay. You will say yes. At this stage, don't push your phone number. You don't want to be too much of a person. Say, sir, let me just drop my flyer. Let me drop my ID card. It's okay. You say yes. Then advancement. Sir, can I call you next week, Friday, 10 a.m.? Because I just want to know some more about your business and your operations. Just in case that your guy disappoint and I have to step in. It'd be nice that I know just one or two things. Shall I say that's I hope that's okay. Most people will say yes. That's the scope. When you call him and you're having the conversations about his business, be sure to explore timelines and the costs that delays is costing them. So the guy that is supplying them Indomie, if the guy has disappointed before and he has already disappointed 3 times already, and we're in the first half of the year, you know, this is the kind of ammunition, the kind of information that you need later on to now make your own pitch. That, sir, I see that for you, time is money. For me, as I'm new in the field like this, I'm trying to build myself. And so for the small clients that I have, I do not joke with their time. If I tell anybody Monday 10 o'clock, it is Monday 10 o'clock. This your guy has already misbehaved like 3 times this year. I'm just asking for a chance. Just give me 2 deliveries this week, next week. Just try my hand and see. Abisa, what do you think? That's the scope. So, for those of you who have to sell when there's already somebody on the inside, somebody is entrenched, they already have a standard provider, a standard plug. This is one of the scopes that you can go about it. In future podcast episodes, we can discuss more approaches, but I think this one is just an easy approach that anybody can take so far. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for your time and attention. If you would love to connect with me, call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080 Also, you don't have time for long episodes like this. Join the WhatsApp group. You'll have PDF summaries every single day, and in 2 to 3 minutes, let's say 3 to 5 minutes, you can get caught up and know what it is that you need to do next. So, for those of you newbies, remember, subscribe to the podcast and share it with your friends and family members. Let them know that we have good business content like this being produced on the African continent, being produced in Nigeria. Let them know. It's not just Igbo podcasts that are there. We also have good Nigerian business podcasts as well. So, thank you for your time and attention. I'll catch you all some other time.